Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a really fundamental question, I think, for anyone looking to get ahead financially,
Mhm.
especially for you, the learner, someone who wants to, cut through the noise and understand what really drives earning potential. We've got this fascinating piece here, quite directly titled Pasted Text, which, well, it breaks down how to think about making money beyond just, the daily grind.
That's right. It kind of encourages us to forget the typical advice. Our source material offers a structured way to view the world of earning, not as just one big thing, but as three distinct levels, all interconnected. We'll be moving from like immediate practical steps all the way up to a broader understanding of market forces. Think of it as gaining a real strategic edge in how you approach your financial life.
Okay, so right off the bat, this isn't about just working harder or even being like the nicest person in the room. The text argues that the core of earning really lies in understanding and, well, maybe even playing the game of human nature.
Yeah, that plus smart strategic planning and a clean insight into trends.
And it lays these ideas out across three different realms, as it calls them. So let's dive into the first one, the tactical level.
Right, the tactical level. As our source defines it, it's pretty much all about understanding and, well, operating on basic human motivations for, let's say, relatively quick gains.
Hmm.
The main idea is that what makes people actually open their wallets isn't necessarily your hard work or, how sincere you seem. It's more about how well you tap into what already drives them deep down.
Yeah, and the source, it really pulls no punches on this. It actually states, quote, effort is worthless, sentimentality is useless, desperately trying to please others will only move yourself.
Oh, pretty blunt.
It is. It goes on. Earning money has never relied on how hard you work, nor on how sincere you are, but on whether you have seen through and utilized human nature. It's quite a perspective.
Definitely direct. So when it talks about human nature here, what specific levers are we talking about?
Well, the text points out several key drivers. Things like, the desire for ease or just plain laziness,
Uh-huh.
self-interest, greed, that urge to get more, avoiding trouble, the fear of losing out,
Yeah.
even the fear of being alone.
And it's quite striking, isn't it, when you actually stop and think, so many successful products and services, they directly address these very fundamental human tendencies.
Oh, absolutely. Look at the examples it gives. For laziness, right?
Right.
It points to things like food delivery apps. I mean, who hasn't used those?
Right. Total convenience.
Or, endlessly scrolling short-form videos that take zero effort. Or even AI tools that automate tasks we'd rather not do.
Yeah, the quote is pretty sharp. Which of the market's blockbuster products doesn't help people be lazy? Makes you think.
It really does. And then there's greed, that basic desire to get more value for less cost.
Exactly. And this is where the text offers a slightly, maybe counterintuitive insight. It directly criticizes the whole pleasing approach to earning money.
Oh, so.
It just states, flat out, pleasing type earning is the most tiring and poorest. Well, think about it, right? Businesses that are constantly trying to please absolutely everyone, they often spread themselves way too thin and they end up with like minimal profits. It's exhausting.
Yeah, that makes sense. It even touches on why being too eager can actually backfire.
Oh,
Yeah, it relates it to how we tend to undervalue things that are like super easily available, contrasting that with luxury brands.
yeah.
They cultivate that air of exclusivity, scarcity,
You're
distance.
creating
So
desire.
it's not saying be rude, obviously, but it's about understanding how perceived value actually gets shaped in people's minds.
Exactly. So the core of earning at this tactical level, according to the source, it really boils down to providing tangible benefits, like real value, and making yourself indispensable somehow. It's less about emotional appeals or just brute effort. The source actually frames it all as a kind of psychological
The
game.
game.
Yeah, where aligning what you offer with these basic human desires can surprisingly lead to easier profits. It even says the more you conform to human nature, the easier it is to earn lying down.
Okay, so we get the underlying psychology. What about like concrete steps? What actionable things does the source suggest for this tactical level?
Good question. It gives four key pieces of advice. First, simplify operations.
Simplify.
Yeah, make your product extremely simple, foolproof to use. The more complex the process, the easier it is for people to give up. Think about those really intuitive apps, no friction.
Ah, okay, makes perfect sense.
Right.
Remove the barriers. What's the second point?
Second, emphasize benefits. It says, tell customers that using your product can save money, make money, solve problems. Don't talk about ideals, talk about practical benefits.
So get straight to the point. What's in it for them?
Exactly. Be direct about the payoff. Third, create a sense of urgency.
Oh, the classics.
Yep. Limited time sales, stock running low, exclusive quotas.
Boom.
These old tricks are always effective. That feeling of maybe missing out, powerful motivator.
We've all been there. Okay, and the last tactical suggestion.
Finally, utilize scarcity. Basically, make customers feel that your product is scarce, unique. The rarer it is, the more valuable. Taps into that desire for things not everyone can have.
Got it. Rarity equals value.
So that's Realm 1, the tactical level, understanding and leveraging human nature for, more immediate results. But the text definitely argues that for real, lasting success, we need to think bigger.
Right. Which brings us to the strategic level.
Exactly.
All right, let's zoom out a bit then. The source describes this strategic level as moving beyond those quick wins. It's about focusing on building long-term value and, importantly, the ability to earn continuously.
Yeah, it's framed as a marathon, not just a sprint or a one-time deal.
And it seems crucial to understand why just relying on those short-term human nature tactics isn't, well, sustainable in the long run.
Absolutely. This second realm is all about building something more resilient, something that lasts.
So the first key element here is brand. The text uses a great metaphor, calls it a moat.
A moat. I like that.
Yeah, providing a lasting competitive advantage. It's about building customer loyalty.
Yeah.
Being able to command, premium pricing, like those luxury brands we touched on earlier. The text contrasts this with just constantly fighting price wars, which sounds exhausting.
It is. And what's really insightful here is the focus on why brands work. It's not just a logo. It's about building a solid reputation and cultivating customer trust over time.
Right.
The source asks, why can some companies stand for 100 years? The answer, because they have a brand, a reputation, customer loyalty. It really highlights the security a strong brand provides.
Okay, makes sense. The next strategic element mentioned is customer relationships. The text calls this a gold mine.
A gold mine, huh?
Yeah, emphasizing that keeping an existing customer is way more valuable than always chasing new ones.
That's a classic business principle, but often forgotten.
Totally. It uses Apple's ecosystem as an example how customers feel integrated, almost like they need the products.
Yeah.
It makes you indispensable.
Yeah, that feeling of being locked in, but in a good way for the company.
And the question it asks is really thought-provoking. What impression have you left on your customers? Cheap or indispensable? Really makes you think about the value you provide.
It absolutely does. Forces you to reflect. Then, the third strategic element is resource optimization.
Okay, what's that about?
This is about moving beyond just working harder and really focusing on working smarter, strategically leveraging the resources you actually have.
So less brute force, more intelligence.
Exactly. The text contrasts brute force with smart optimization of things like supply chains, cutting costs, boosting efficiency. It points to Amazon's logistics as a prime example.
Ah, yeah, their efficiency is legendary. The source is pretty clear here, too. Earning money doesn't rely on brute force, but on leverage.
That's the key takeaway.
Yeah.
Maximize your output with what you've got.
So, strategically speaking, what advice does the text offer for building this kind of long-term value?
Okay, 4 key recommendations here as well. First, obviously, build a unique brand. Right. Make your brand the customer's first choice. Give the product premium pricing power. Don't always rely on low prices to grab market share. Differentiate yourself. Create perceived value.
Makes sense. What's next?
Second, cultivate loyal customers. How? Through high-quality service, membership systems, community operations. Retain old customers. Don't let customers run away.
Yeah, loyalty programs, good service, critical for repeat business.
Absolutely critical.
Right.
Third, tying back to the previous point, optimize resource allocation.
Okay.
Streamline processes, reduce costs, improve efficiency, use leverage to earn money. Don't rely on brute force. Again, it's about smart efficiency.
Got it. And the final strategic pillar for long-term earning.
Fourth, establish competitive barriers. Basically, use things like patents, technology, scale to block competitors. Don't let others easily copy you.
Oh, that moat we talked about.
Exactly. Create sustainable advantages that are hard to replicate. That ensures your spot in the market long term. So that's the strategic level, building that solid foundation for ongoing success, moving beyond just the quick tactical plays. But the source argues there's still another level.
A third level even higher.
Yeah, the philosophical realm.
Okay, now we're getting into some real big picture thinking. The source positions this as like the peak of understanding. where grasping these broader external forces is absolutely key.
Right.
It introduces the idea of trends as being like a powerful tailwind or, favorable circumstances. It uses that famous quote.
Oh, the one about pigs flying?
That's the one. If you stand on the vent, even pigs can fly.
Huh. Yeah, it really drives home the power of timing, doesn't it? Aligning yourself with the right market forces at just the right moment.
Totally. The text points to huge shifts, like the internet, AI development, new energy tech, examples of massive trends that created enormous wealth.
And the key is foresight, right? Positioning yourself early in those big waves.
Exactly. Then, the next philosophical element is policy. This is described as potential dividends or advantages.
Policy as dividends. Interesting.
Yeah, it emphasizes how government rules, regulations, incentives can just dramatically shape markets. It uses the growth in new energy vehicles as an example, often pushed by policy support.
Ah, good example.
The quote is, when national policy changes, the market changes. You have to learn to read policy, understand the direction of the wind. Whatever policy supports, that's what you do.
Wow. That really underlines how important it is to stay informed about the regulatory side, understand where the government support is actually flowing.
Definitely. Then the source talks about technology as a major accelerator.
An accelerator of change.
Yeah, changing business models. It stresses you've got to stay updated with things like AI, blockchain,
Yeah.
recognizing they can create totally new ways to make money.
So keeping your finger on the pulse of innovation.
And the text puts it very directly.
Right.
Whoever uses AI first, whoever uses blockchain first, earns money first. It's about grabbing that early advantage through innovation.
Makes sense. Embrace the new tech.
Exactly. And finally, this philosophical level also looks at social change.
Social change. Like what?
Things like shifts in demographics, how people buy things, changing values, all seen as sources of new business opportunities.
Okay, give me an example.
Well, it mentions the growing need for elder care services because populations are aging, or the rise of high-end brands catering to different tastes. It's about watching how society itself is changing and spotting future needs.
Okay. So being really observant about the cultural shifts.
Right. So this whole philosophical level, it's really about aligning yourself with these huge external forces. Source calls it dancing with the times.
Dancing with the times. I like that.
Leveraging heavenly timing, geographical advantages, and human harmony. It's less about your own individual sweat and more about strategically riding these bigger waves.
Less pushing the boulder uphill, more finding the downhill slope.
Exactly. And the actionable advice at this highest level, it reflects that broader view. First, observe market trends.
Look beyond the immediate.
Yeah. Pay attention to industry developments, predict future directions. Don't always stare at the small money in front of you. Adopt that wider perspective on the whole economy.
Think long-term strategically about where the market itself is going. Okay, what's next? Second, grasp policy direction. Basically, understand national policies, seize dividends, don't go against the general trend. Aligning with supportive policies gives you momentum.
Right, that government tailwind again. Often overlooked, but powerful.
Definitely powerful. Third, utilize technological progress. Keep up, essentially. Keep up with technological trends, use new technologies to seize opportunities. Don't be left behind by the times.
Yeah, innovation waits for no one.
True. And the final philosophical point for really maximizing potential.
What is it?
Fourth, conform to social changes. It says pay attention to changes in population, consumption, values, find new business opportunities, don't live in the past.
So understand those deep societal shifts to find new, maybe underserved markets.
Exactly. Adapt or get left behind.
Wow. Okay, so bringing it all together, we've journeyed through these three pretty distinct realms of earning money, as laid out in this pasted text source.
Yeah, quite a journey.
We started tactical, right? Understanding and leveraging basic human nature for more immediate results. Yeah.
Then
we moved up to the strategic level, emphasizing building long-term value, strong brand, loyal customers, smart resource use.
Yep, the marathon part.
And finally, we hit this philosophical level, where the key is really understanding and aligning with the big picture trends, policy, tech, social shifts.
And the source really concludes that true mastery, like becoming a real expert in earning, requires you to navigate and, crucially, integrate all three levels.
Yeah, it puts it really well. If you want to become a master of earning money, you have to simultaneously master these three realms. Use tactics to operate on human nature. use strategy to build value, use philosophy to conform to the general trend.
It does reframe the whole thing, doesn't it? Shows it's so much more than just putting in the hours.
Absolutely. It's a comprehensive game, as the text says, of human psychology, strategic planning, and trend insight. Not just a sentimental race, won by hard work alone.
Very well put. So for you, our listener, as you kind of process this deep dive, maybe reflect on which of these three realms, tactical, strategic, philosophical, currently dominates your own thinking about earning.
Good question.
And maybe more importantly, what's one significant big trend that's unfolding right now that perhaps deserves a bit more of your attention?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, understanding how to achieve financial success seems to involve way more than just your individual effort. It really demands a deep engagement with these fundamental forces shaping our whole economic world.